See if everything is working. We have a lot of action going on. Oh, we're at a very high level now, very high level. And it gets so sad. It gets so sad. If we were just dealing with the J. Paulins, right, with the First Sergeant J. Paulins or the platoon leaders, which, Dallas Hart is the prime suspect in the taking of our son's life. But none of that could happen if the director of emergency services would do his job. But he was so compromised, y'all, and he was so afraid. Reports are that he was crying, that he was crying. So Thomas Kane, the director of emergency services, said it was so bad on Fort Bliss that he was crying. And he was crying. He didn't know what to do because he couldn't even file a complaint. And I'm not making excuses for him at all. He should have filed the complaint. Richard filed his complaint, his report. The DES should have had the backbone, and he had a much more leverage than Richard did in his position. He should have absolutely called a press meeting, a press um, and delivered to many, many agencies. He knew the system, um, a warning and a report on what was going on Fort Bliss with the hundreds of thousands of children that were being trafficked and the most horrible things done to them. I mean, the DES was crying. He was crying. And, he said the most terrible things about Richard because he was absolutely losing his mind. He was absolutely losing his mind. This is a situation, um we're at day 1900 and what is it? 16, 15, 17. Geez, what is it? Let me check because I just posted it, but so much going on. Oh, geez. Oh, 1916. Okay, so we're good to go. And um, since Richard was, think about this. He's in his barracks room. He told me, Mom, I can't leave my barracks room. They'll hurt me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you just don't know. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. And I was thinking that it was the Cobra Strike stuff, right? The Anyway, he was afraid for his life. That's the point. In the barracks room on Fort Bliss, he was afraid for his life. That's the point. And that's just incomprehensible. It's just incomprehensible. We're $38 trillion in debt. A lot of that is from military. And we have a volunteer military, volunteer sons and daughters. And we're so top heavy with the flag officers. And they can't keep our sons and daughters safe in their barracks room on our own soil with all of this security, with all of the resources. It's incomprehensible. And it was out of control. And that's why we're at such a top level. It's not, it is about Jay Paulin. It is about Michael Ruggiero. It is about David Park. It is about Michael Roddick. It is about all of these lower level that that weren't Richard. They were compromised. That's why Richard's so special. That's why he's so special. He's over and above all of them. And he reported courageously. He did his duty in the line of duty. And they had an obligation to care for the whistleblower, the one that had the courage, the one that had the courage to actually sign his name and turn in a report. And they forcibly removed him from his room and took him to the arms room. And they took his life. They took his life. They stole his body. They dismembered him. And they trafficked him. They trafficked him to Mexico because they were involved in trafficking. They were involved in the orchestration and cover up of the Walmart mass shooting. And they were doing it because they were compromised from the leadership above. And today we had the arrest of Mario Alberto Ortiz. Can you believe it? What's his last name? I have it here. Let me. Saroldi. Saroldi. And it's Cortez too. And it's Soto. His family's connected to Soto's. Yeah, so this lawyer that, when I saw the name Mario Alberto Ortiz, it's like, really? Really? The medical examiner is Mario Alberto Rascon Ortiz. What what's going on here? Then you look into it, and then this lawyer is, all over the place with the last name Soto. It's always the same names. It's the same group. And, then you get all the backstory that the news is not telling, who they're involved in, what they're doing. And, it's just, well, I can tell you this. I'm so glad he was arrested. He deserves it every bit. He deserves it every bit. And it has to do with trafficking. And it has to do with exploiting the trafficking. And guess who's, involved in this arrest? DPS. Are you kidding? Took them a year. Took them a year. Well, that's what the news is saying. So you have all these young women going through hell because DPS director Jose Sanchez has to be in the Starbucks parking lot doing frisky, handy business in public, on duty, on the taxpayer dime, with his honey trap girlfriend, with a fleet of cars That's uh, half of them with DV license plates, disabled veteran license plates, connected to the real estate office of Lester Estevez, the friend of the trooper who's harassing us to such an extreme amount. And let me tell you, we've been under a lot of harassment, but his harassment was next level. And we reported him. And we find out that he's married to a Mahia whose family is the Mahia Fong family that owns Dreams Cabaret, where Leilani Hart was getting her mail. And she's the mother of the prime suspect, and she herself is a prime suspect and a convicted criminal, and confessed to in a notarized affidavit, and well, you can just say affidavit, but a notarized confession to the worst type of crimes against children and facilitating the worst type of crimes against children and failing to report for decades the worst type of crimes against children. And what's going on at the border? The she-devil. The she-devil performing the worst type of crimes against children, against women, against humankind, and trafficking them. And you're saying, what the hell is going on? Because her family member works for Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke, who lives right next to the flesh peddler and owner of Plenitude Crematorium. Who is in business with the Pan Party, who is in the business with Maru Campos, the governor of Chihuahua, Mexico, whose mother, Maria Eugenia Galvan, was overseeing that facility. No, I mean, she wasn't seeing anything. She was in business with them, allowing them to operate, being part of and connected to the Sinaloa cartel and FTO, which is also connected to Del Carmen, other cartel dropping body disposal area, right? This is what this is. For the worst type of crimes against women and children, which Alex Jones had the guts to report on InfoWars to his very huge fan base. And that's why sharing is so important here, because we're giving you the news. And who is aiding and abetting Maru Campos? Who's allowing all of this to go on in Chihuahua, Mexico? I mean, her mother's allowing it to go on. Even if they close it down, she doesn't do anything. She allows it to go because her security and everything is all cartel. They're all doing protecting cartel kingpins, right? Because they're all cartel. It is a total narco state. And who is aiding and abetting them? Who is going over there and working for them because they're so much better than someone like President Trump, who wants peace and order and following the law? It's John Kelly Now this is where, when we realized he was interfering in all of this, that he was over there. This was at Christmas. This was almost a year ago. We've been it's just absolutely jaw-dropping because of our family history. We absolutely know who John Kelly is. And he's Southcom. He was the general of Southcom. Starting what, like 2012 or something? He was the general of Southcom. That means he had all those years, all those resources, all of those connections right there on El Paso borderland. Right there, all the way, Panama Canal. Panama Canal. He knew he knew all the cartel. He knew all of what they were doing. He had all of those intelligence briefings. He had the top secret clearance. He had all the resources. We give them everything. And then he becomes Homeland Security for President Trump. And then his advisor, I'm lost. I mean, right next to him, right there over the entire White House. And then we cannot forget when he totally betrayed President Trump and then started with the stupid playbook that they all have: smear, 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 false narratives, fake news, smear, 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 with fake, just fake reporting. And out of his mouth came garbage, absolute garbage. This general that we give everything to and let him climb up the ladder, let him have charge over our border, all and into, you're talking about the Panama Canal. And gets into the White House, Homeland Security, and then gets into the White House, is in charge of our house, of our White House, and betrays the President of the United States. And everybody was like, anybody that was following this was like, what? And where does he go? Where does he go? He goes to Maru Campos. He goes to Chihuahua. He goes to Cesar Paneche. Paneche, right? Panici, whatever his name is. He goes to the AG, right? I mean, works with him over there in Chihuahua, Mexico. And you know me, if you're over there, I care. I care. But that is a different country. He's like top secret with everything about our border, everything about our security. And he is going and aiding, abetting a narco state, not trying to help them, but trying to exploit the situation that he knows exists. And what does he do? He sits on the board of Caliburn International. What do? Oh, they profit off of unaccompanied migrants, unaccompanied minor migrants. Can you believe it? This is, and other things too, but this is how despicable this treasonous, traitorous. He's just garbage. Because not only did he hurt and is hurting Richard's investigation, national security, border security, El Paso, but also Chihuahua, Mexico. You think him exploiting what they're doing hurt them? Yes, because they were like, oh, yeah, John. Yeah, John, come on, join us in our pit of hell and exploit these women and these babies and these children and all the others, all the other families, even the very people that participate, like the J. Paulins, all of these people that they're not like Richard, right? They're weak. They're weak. And that's why we have leaders. That's why we have leaders. And when those leaders go and turn, think about how many people they hurt and how much damage they do, and how those that, uh, you know, have these stars and stripes on, but are yet weak. We find out how weak they are. Mr. J. Pollen, all tough, and he's just weak. It's like a big glob of goo. And, a liar. I don't think John Kelly brought the best out in him. Sean Bernabe didn't bring the best out in him. That's why Patton was such a good leader, because he brought the best out in his men and women. He brought the best out in them. He made them strong. And think about it. Because John Kelly is a traitor, a treasonous traitor, hundreds of thousands of children, y'all, 500,000, 500,000 children. What now, in these last like 7 months, they found 36,000 of them. But we're talking about 500,000. And we know through the she devil what they did to a lot of them. We know through DES Thomas Kane what they did to a lot of them. We know through congressional hearings what they did to a lot of them. And it didn't just start in March of 2021. It went turbo force in March of 2021. And now we're hearing from DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, what happened to a lot of them. And we heard from the president himself what happened to a lot of them. And think about this traitorous monster, John Kelly, that we gave everything to, profited with Caliburn while working for Maru Campos, the governor of Chihuahua, that is totally compromised with FTO, cartel, narco operations. That through the narco operations are killing so many people too. and bringing the whole way of life down so many notches. I went over probably 3 dozen times and went into neighborhoods, went onto the street. I don't know if some of you saw us. And the quality of life has been driven down because of traitors like John Kelly, traitors like Woody Hunt, traitors like Beto O'Rourke, traitors like Veronica Escobar, traitors like Sean Bernabe, traitors like Jose Sanchez. Jose Sanchez took a year, a year to figure out what the establishment, lawyer group, justice system, legal system knew for years and years. Give me a break. He knew what was going on. And this is what is so crazy, insane. El Paso Inc. just had named this Sardoli, what is his name? Saroldi, this Mario Alberto Ortez Saroldi, this lawyer, as like the best lawyer. This is El Paso's best lawyer. Come to him. You don't have to pay with money. He's going to traffic you. He'll traffic you and he'll do more to you. He'll want all of you. Yes, a snake. Total snake. And El Paso Inc. is naming him like the best lawyer. This is what they do to hide the rot, and the crime. And he's not the only one. And we're right. We've been right all along because we've been doing this for over 5 years, and the people in El Paso are sick and tired of this rot, and they share with us very good information. This Saroldi, or whatever his name is, Ortiz, Mario Alberto Ortiz. I just can't get over that, right? That's his name. I need to do a forensics on his face with Mario Raskin Ortiz. It's just, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. He's not the only one. And is anybody listening surprised that he's not the only one and that he is this snake lawyer that is trafficking his own clients? And it takes a year for Jose Sanchez to do anything about it. I think that you have driven this to happen. Do not doubt that one bit. You drove this to happen by watching, by sharing, by getting this information out that of all of the things that we are doing. And of course, President Trump's administration being the new sheriff in town. But it is you. It is you. The numbers keep increasing. As the numbers increase, the pressure increases, and they are driven to stop their frisky, handy business with compromised real estate people, right? With a fleet of cars. Oh gosh, let's not let's get into everything. Stop his frisky business in the parking lot on taxpayer dime and go and arrest this lawyer hurting his own clients. Let's read some of and this is so important for Richard because the clients wanted help. Help me. What do you think submitting report after report, talking to Washington, D.C., talking to the FBI, talking to CID, talking to 911, talking to IG, right? Talking to all the wanting help, talking to his command, his chain of command. Richard wanted he's like, get me out of here. I want to transfer. Get me out of here. Right. And one person remembered, and I thank that person too, for the incident that caused Richard to be cut because they were violent. They were violent. And he was asking for help, just like these women were asking for help. And the DPS, whose mandate is to protect us from this garbage, is too busy doing frisky business with a compromised real estate girlfriend, whatever. I don't even know if you can call her that. She's counterintelligence. That's what she is. She wants to get to that pillow talk. So that means this group, this Brookshire, Mejia, Fong, Hart, Hernandez, Soto, Estevez, this group um, is more involved than just retaliating against the Gold Star family. Yes. Their roots go a little deeper in this case, a little longer back, or a little more further back. Connell Winton, yeah. Let's see. Is what he is and all them traitors and terrorists. Well, they're aiding and abetting, and I'll leave it for the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, because they it's astounding what's coming out every day, right? Um, New information is coming out every day, and at the same, so you see this deep state. The deep state is being exposed. And if you ever doubted there was a deep state, and I've doubted that in the past, I don't doubt it anymore because the deep state is right in front of us, right in front of our face, and you can see it. Because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You got a trooper deep involved in this criminal activity. You've got a assistant special agent in charge in the FBI, like Connell Winton, deep in this garbage. You've got Cesar Paneche, the AG of Chihuahua, deep in this garbage. I mean, you got his company siphoning billions of barrels of oil. It's no wonder we pay so much. It takes like what, 10 cents to get a barrel of oil out of the ground. God makes it so cheap, and it's not a fossil fuel, y'all. Please know this. It is not a fossil fuel. The earth makes it. It's a renewable. And think about it. We use billions of oil. It's so cheap, and it comes out of the ground. God, it's a gift from God. The black gold, right? And they charge us so much for it. And you've got Cesar Paneche, his his group, his company, they're siphoning billions of barrels, and he's living in a $20 million home in the schwankiest place in Chihuahua. I mean, and you got other people trying, they can't even get a business going because you got the cartel on their neck. Is what he is, and all them traitors and terrorists like Connell Witten as well. Yes, I knew something was up with the lawyer I went to go see for my child custody divorce last October 20. So you went to this same lawyer? Is that what you're saying, Laura? I mean, that is like, wow. Wow. You got out of there good, because he's just no good. He's just up to no good. I would not be surprised if they are related. Oh, okay. El Paso is so corrupt. They are in schools and every corner, probably even the air, since people have been getting COVID lately. They will retaliate on anyone who doesn't align with their ideologies. Investigate all Odessa and Midland people connected to the Mexico that work over there, and of course their bosses. Yeah, so well, I know the right people are listening, the right people. There's some wrong people listening too, but there's right people listening and watching and reading the comments. That absolutely, this is why sharing all this is really important, because if they're reading it and they know it's being shared over and over, they know that they're going to be held accountable. Um, so and now we see that a lawyer that always felt protected, so protected that he could carry on the way he was carrying on, um, is now being held accountable. And this is just the first domino, or the second domino, or third domino. Think about it, because you have Nadal Baim with the getting sued by Western Frontier Trading, which is so connected to the Hart family. And then you have uh, him getting a divorce. And then you have the arrest of Ernest Christopher Grant. That's a biggie. Now you have this arrest, and it's coming. It is really, you see Cuomo, John Bolton. Um, it's absolutely, I think Christopher Ray's turn is coming, but the big one is John Kelly. John Kelly, because he has all the intelligence and years of connections and experience and authority and everything over that border. He was Southcom, he was Department of Homeland Security, and then he had all that access to all the policies in the White House. And then he goes and works over there in Chihuahua. It is just, textbook treason. That's what that is. Textbook treason. And, I hope the death penalty is on the table for all of these people. I really do. And I never really, you asked me 4 years ago, or even Sean, Lieutenant General um, Sean Bernabe will tell you, we were willing to, negotiate with the worst type of crimes at the beginning. We wanted to know what happened to our son. We knew something bad happened. And he would look at us like, you're crazy. And yeah, we were crazy. We were crazy. For that one meeting where we're like, um, let's negotiate with what happened. Just tell us what happened to our son. We'll negotiate. Yeah, we're not the negotiation is over with. Is over with. We're totally we understand now. We understand now. And there's no negotiation with this kind of crime. No negotiation at all. And the death penalty needs to be on the table. On the table, big time, bigly, however you want to say it, hugely, for what they did to our son. And that's why now I understand why he was looking at us like that. We're like, okay, what happened? I mean, we didn't even imagine anything like this, because this was institutional. This was planned. This was conducted. This was orchestrated. Richard was absolutely targeted over and over and over again, until finally they forcibly removed him and took his life. And then they even desecrated his remains. Now this is sacrilege. This is absolutely crimes against God. Yes, I think we're not negotiating. We're in the negotiation for his remains, and they're vicious. But for accountability, Dallas Hart needs to be arrested. John Kelly needs to be arrested. Michael Garrett, 4-star general Michael Garrett, needs to be arrested. Donna Martin needs to be arrested. James McConville, General James McConville needs to be arrested. James Montoya needs to be arrested. I think it's coming. Montoya, I think that one is coming very soon. I think, because listen to this. This because it gets late, and so this Ortiz, he absolutely was connected to James Montoya, to Jaime Esparza. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's why, if he is getting arrested right now, I think, I predicted that the next big guy to be indicted would be John Kelly. And for good reason. For good reason. And I hope so. And our family's still right there with that. But for what's going on in El Paso, I think James Bonneau Montoya, for perjury, absolutely perjury. That's confirmed, y'all. There's no doubt that he committed perjury. There's no doubt he's illegitimate, that he is just being an imposter right now. No doubt. Um, why pray for their remains to be with you all soon? We pray that their remains, thank you, yes, arrest them all and investigate their families as well. Well, I think that, well, I know, and I'm not at liberty to say. I'm not at liberty to say. I just know that there's connections there. And you see that with Brookshire, right? You see that with Brookshire, but with and in the Hart family, and so eh, are we prepared for this? And how is President Trump going to do this? It's because he has a plan. He's had a plan since before January, right? Before January, he has a plan, and you see him working it out. And he just secured another 300 over 300 billion dollars from South Korea after 550 billion um, from Japan, investments in the United States to rebuild the United States, to have a vibrant economy, to have an economy, because to have this accountability, you have to have an economy. Okay. Yeah, these people that are caught up in this cartel network need a place to go and work and feed their family and everything. So, um, this is really important to understand that uh, building the economy is all about national security, all about the rule of law. And we understand that. And so um, we are very happy to see this arrest of this lawyer, because we know that President Trump has his eyes on the border. He has his eyes on El Paso. And the next person that needs to be arrested is John Kelly. And of course, James Bonneau Montoya. James Bonneau Montoya is an imposter, is a fraud, is a fake. It has committed perjury. And it's so bad because he puts his interests ahead of his entire 34th Judicial District. He puts his interests before those babies, before those mothers, before all of these people. So that have just suffered because of this elevated crime. I mean, what the last time I heard, which was months ago, was like 800 executions in Juarez this year alone. In Juarez, come on. Yeah. So it's uh it's been a good day. A good day. And please continue to pray for Richard's remains. Pray to God that the angels will absolutely hear the cries of Richard, and it will all be exposed, and they can, because they have him. It's like a hostage. This is a hostage negotiation, right? His spirit, his body is being held hostage. It's a hostage negotiation. And we want him. We want him. And, the only reason why they want him is to keep the truth covered for as long as they possibly can, because his body is evidence. So, everything is possible with God. And there's been miracle after miracle after miracle in this. And so, keep praying. Please share. Please contact people, let them know what's going on. And, you know, there's some political things going on too, why you don't see the story in the news. Um, there is, but let me tell you, I've confirmed, totally confirmed, that they know this case. They know this case. So thank you so much. We, the people, will get this out to each other, because we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we can share this information so easy through text, through the internet, the social media, everything. And we're gonna get the pressure done. We're gonna get this job done. We'll get it done. So thank you so much. God bless you. And don't forget, you just got this lawyer arrested. It was you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay.